All right, so the first lesson we're going to do is 5-7. So I try to put some questions on there that have a little bit of variety as far as the answers are concerned. The process of doing the problem is almost identical. All right, it's like you're doing the same thing over and over again. For instance, so 1 through 4 are all just straight up use the quadratic formula. And that's what I even tell you. I tell you, use the quadratic formula. Okay, so I'll just write that down. Quadratic formula for the first 4. Okay, that's all it is. Just straight up quadratic formula. Now, there are some, for instance, where they're not just all equal to 0. Like that first one, I put whatever ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. All right, for number 1. So it's straight up, you can't get any more basic than that with a quadratic formula. But then I mix it up a little bit. All right, so if you look at numbers like 18 to 27, all right, or even there's a couple even on the top from 1 to 16. There's a couple that look like that. For instance, like number, 14. Look at 14. 2x squared minus 18. 2x squared minus 18. And I don't think I'm going to waste my time by doing every single step to every single one of these problems, but I'll show you the style, the type of problems that I'm going to put on there. Equals negative 9x. So it says, solve for x using the quadratic formula. So what would you do first? I wouldn't start putting stuff in the formula just yet. What would you do first? Put it in this form right there. Put it in that standard form of a quadratic equation. So that means the 2x squared is going to be right there. What's going to be next? Plus 9x. So this will be your very first step. And then the negative 18 is already there, so I can just keep it right there, equals 0. I could do one thing before I start putting it into the quadratic formula that will make it just a little bit easier. You could just put it in the quadratic formula right now, all right, just like this. It's fine, no big deal. But we could make it a little bit easier for ourselves. I'm sorry. No, you can't. You can't. You got to put it in the way it is. I was thinking you could divide everything by 2, but I got a 9 here. I was just looking at the 2 and the 18. So really, you're just putting it into the formula. I'll put it in. You can do the rest. So x equals negative b. What's negative b? It's negative 9 plus or minus square root b squared, 9 squared, which is 81, minus 4 times a times c, which is negative 18, right? If there's a negative in front, don't forget that sign. And that's over 2 times a, or 2 times 2. You can work it out, come up with an answer. All right, so there's 4 of them where that's all you're doing is just writing down or just figuring out the quadratic formula. So that shouldn't be so bad, should it? Then I ask you to do the standard form thing. You remember that one? I think that was from section 5.8. So let me flip over to 5.8. Let's find a problem that we can do from 5.8. You can pick one if you want. I'm looking at numbers 29 to 36. So I have 2 of those. 29 to 36. 34. You want to do 34? We could do that. Okay. Everybody okay with doing 34? All right. So it says, write the standard form quadratic equation with a given solution. So what's our answer going to look like? It's going to look like this, isn't it? Obviously, we'll put numbers in for A, B, and C, but that's what our answer should look like. What do they give us on number 34? They tell us that A is equal to, they can put any letter there, put X equals, probably, let's put an X. X equals 9 plus 5i. Is that the right one? Oh, plus or minus, sorry. Yep. 5i squared root of 2. Okay? Let me make this look a little bit nicer here. X equals. So this is what they give us right here. We want to take this and make it look like that. All right? So let's move everything over except for this part right here. All right? So let's just move the 9 over. So how do I get that 9 over to the other side? just subtract. So I got x minus 9 equals plus or minus. You okay if I put that I on the right-hand side? I don't know. I just like it better over there. Doesn't make any difference. Remember what our next step would be? Square both sides. Now you got to be careful. You're squaring that whole entire side. Same thing over here. You're squaring that whole entire side. Why do we do that? Why are we squaring it? Because look what I need. I need a square, don't I? All right, so how am I going to get that? Well, I'm going to square both sides so I get an x squared over here. All right, that's my purpose in squaring both sides. Make sense? So we're not really like trying to solve for anything. We're actually taking the answer and we're coming up with the question. All right? So what's this going to be? Can you do this in your head or not? At this point, some of you should be able to. I'll write it down just in case you can't. But that'll save you a few seconds, don't you think? How would you do that in your head? This is x squared. This is plus 81. But the middle one, what's the middle one? You multiply them. So that's 9x. And then you double it. It'd be 18x, right? So you could do that in your head, couldn't you? Well, negative 18x, right? Okay? But let's just do it like this. But again, this takes just a handful more seconds, and time is of the essence. So that's x squared. Negative 9x minus 9x is negative 18x, just like we said it would be. And this is plus 81. All right? But again, you should be able at this point to go from there to there just doing that in your head. Now, what about the other side? We're squaring this. If you square the plus or minus, remember that? If you square the plus or minus, they both come out positive, don't they? So do I even worry about my plus or minus? Nope. So I just square everything here. So I square that 5, which gives me, I'll tell you what, we can do a little bit in our head, can't we? Square that, that's 25. If I square the square root of 2, what's that going to give me? 2. 25 times 2 is 50. Now, if I square an I squared, what's I squared equal to? Remember? It's negative 1. Negative 1. So what's this 50 become? Negative 50. And then I'm almost done. Watch. X squared minus 18x. What do I do with that 50? Add it to this. Okay, and that's what? 13131, is that right? Plus 131 equals 0. And that's what I wanted, isn't it? Right there. That looks like this, doesn't it? Is that the answer? Good. Yep. And there you go. You got 2 of those, all right? You got 2 of these on the quiz. Well, now we can. 14 after, is that what you said? Okay. Let's do one of those. Let's do one of those inequalities now that we're recording this. Okay, we did a couple of them before we recorded, so let's find another one of those, and then if we have time, we'll go back and do one of these again, okay? So find a problem. Like if you want to do this, if you want me to do another one of these, find which one you want me to do so I'm not sitting there looking. All right, so let's do one from 5-9. The same stuff that we just went over, okay? This was your homework last night. So ask me any of those from 15 to 32 that we haven't done yet. Come on. 21. We already did 21, didn't we? No. Thought we did. We did 32. We didn't do 21? No, we did do 21. Yeah, we did 21. You're the one that asked, and I did it. 31. Okay, let's not do that one. Well, no, I guess we could. But, yeah, let's do 31. 2x squared plus x plus 4. 2x squared plus x plus 4. What is it, less than? 0. I could tell you right now, just without even doing anything. Look at this. I could put any, well, yeah. Let's just do this. Let me see if they, yeah, they go through the whole thing. All right, so let's go through the whole thing. All right. But I can almost look at this and tell you. But I'm not going to. Let's do it. So what do we do? Let's find that critical point. Remember, we're going to do the number line thing. Find our critical points. So let's do that. So we're going to set this equal to 0 plus x plus 4, because I want to find out where those zeros are. Where does this thing equal 0? So that'll give me 1 point here and 1 point here. So you could try to factor it if you want, but if you're not really sure and you don't want to sit there and try a whole bunch of things, you could always use the formula, right? So let's just do that. So x equals negative b, which is negative 1, plus or minus square root b squared, which is 1, minus 4ac, 2 and 4, and that's over 2a, or 2 times 2. Now we just simplify. This is going to be 1 minus, what's that? 16 times 2 is 32, so that's going to be what? Negative 31, yes? Over 4. So that's going to give you negative 1 plus square root of 31i over, over 4. And what else? Negative 1 minus square root of 31i over 4. Problem is, you can't put them in here, can you? Because of this. So what did we do on that problem where we had all the real solutions? What did we do? Instead of putting 2 critical points, we put 1, and we used what? 0. All right, so let's try a number to the right of 0. Easy number, 1. Let's try 1. This is going to be a 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 4 is 7. Is 7 less than 0? No. All right. So from 0 on here, I'm going to get all positive numbers. Let's try a number to the left of 0, negative 1. So what's this? Negative 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2, right? This is a negative 1, and then plus 4. What do we get here? 2 minus 1 is 1, plus 4 is 5. Is 5 less than 0? No, it's always positive. So look, what if I put a 0 in for this? 2 times 0, that's 0, 0. 4, is 4 less than 0? No. So even at 0, it's positive. So are there any places on here at all that are negative? No, there's no negative spots on here at all. So guess what we say about this? We say it's undefined. Okay? See the difference between all the real answers and no answers at all? Right? So that's what we do. Put the 0 there, plug those numbers in. How do you know to do that? Well, when you come up with an answer with an I in it, that can't show up on our number line. It's an imaginary number. It's not a real number. So I start at 0. I just see what's to the right of 0, what's to the left of 0, and I try 0 itself. None of them work, so it's undefined. Yeah.
If you did like more complex math, would it be like definable later on?
I took a class on this stuff when I was in college. That was like 40-something years ago. So maybe. I just haven't done it. I mean, I just got to be honest. There is probably an imaginary number system and a way to graph imaginary numbers. And I know there is because it's like, if you graph A plus BI, that means this is A and this is the I direction, like this. So you can still put it. But I just haven't done it in so long that I just can't answer that question. Sorry. I wish I was a brainiac and I remembered everything that I learned 40-something years ago, but I just don't. All right. What else? You want to go back to one of those other ones? Give me a number then.
35 on
Read it off to me. So this is 35 on section 3.8. 5.8, sorry.
Are you gonna put any of the like the matching stuff in?
Everything that I've done on here, that's going to be on there. And that covers that basically, I've covered everything. Because that inequality stuff, I put 4 on there. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all those inequality ones. All right? And I try to give a little bit of variety to the answers as well. Okay? They're not all this or this. They don't all have square roots in them. Some just have regular numbers. I made a couple of them super, super easy. I only have a couple where you had to do the quadratic formula, okay, on this inequality stuff. So I tried to give you a little bit of a break. So give me the standard form one. What are your solutions?
For 35.
35. What is it?
B is equal to 1/5 plus or minus.
I'll use x. 1/5 plus or minus
root 3 over 2i.
over 2i. Okay, so we work with it just the way we did before. The only problem is, the thing that I would do first, I don't like that 1/5 and I don't like that over 2, do you? So what would you do?
10.
Yeah, I'd multiply everything by 10. Everything, all right? So if I multiply this by 10, this by 10, and don't forget, do the other side by 10. I think it might make it a little bit easier for us. Do you have to do that? I don't think so. But what do we got? We got 10x equals, what happens here when I multiply that by 10? That's once, that's twice, so what do I get? A 2 plus or minus. What if I multiply that by 10? What do I get up here? A 5. So I get 5 square root of 3, and I got an I right there. And now you know what to do, right? We did one of these earlier. Now it's pretty much, right? We get rid of this. We got plus or minus 5 square root of 3i. What do we do? Square both sides. Can we do this in your head now? Watch. 10x minus 2, what's that? 100x. That's 20. Negative 20. You double it, it's what? It's negative 40x. What's the end of it? Plus 4 equals, what's this? We don't have to worry about that. Square that's 25. Square that's 3. That's 75. But there's the I squared. What does that do to this? Okay. And then, so what do we, this is squared, forgot. 100x squared minus 40x. Add a 75 to both sides. And I get what? 79. Plus 79 equals what? 0. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Okay. We covered everything. That's not so bad. It was suggested you keep your homework till tomorrow if you want to use it to study from. Okay?
Even though 5 is 9 or whatever?
Yeah. Okay, that's it.